The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
You want some bad news, Michael?
No.
What are you asking me?
You're the guru of the gray matter. I figured if anybody had it, you'd have the answer.
I can't give you any direction.
I think I'm going to have to change this channel. I'm sorry.
You're completely wrong.
I refuse to be wrong on 2 calls in a row.
Tell me I'm spot on or tell me I'm crazy as all get out.
I have no idea.
I have a 6-month-old, so we'll be raising him according to Dr. Ray.
Talk about being a winner.
So, you want my question?
You ain't making any sense.
You're absolutely right. I just needed confirmation.
So what are you going to do about it, Dawn?
I'm calling you.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Yes, sir. She must be at the very limit of her emotional rope. She's calling me. But I do appreciate it, though. When I was in college, 8-9 years of college, I think total number of women who called me was 3. Okay, my mom doesn't count, so it's 2. And then the lady that kind of, my library books were overdue, so, well, it was 1. But we get more than that on any given afternoon on this program. The Doctor Is In. The number, if we get more than 2 ladies calling, you will have doubled the number of girls who called me in college. 877-573 7825. 877-57 equal. That's the number. Multiple reasons to call. 1, most common reason, situation, circumstance, somebody, something, frustration, not sure what to do, want to get another head, solving the problem. That's the most common reason. Other reasons are a generic question, something you don't understand about psychology or emotions or development or diagnoses, or faith intersecting with psychology. That's a big one, too. I like that one. I get to pontificate. And I was reading, too, on Catholic Radio Media's rule book. You have to say pontificate at least once a month. Also, people call in to disagree with me. They get put straight to the front. Even if it's my wife, she always gets straight to the front. And then sometimes people will call in to comment and be helpful for another caller. So all of those are reasons. Keith is call screaming today. So you'll get Keith if you call in. Andrew, of course, is on the boards. He's manning the boards. Can't say manning, but that's all right because I'm living life on the linguistic edge. 877-57 equal is the number to call to get onto the program. New book coming out. Yeah. I'm writing a book about reverse psychology. Reverse psychology. My whole marketing strategy is going to be don't buy it. You don't want this. Don't go get it. Not worth paying for. Reverse psychology. I know somebody's going to email me and say, are you really writing a book about reverse psychology? No. But I am writing a book about narcissism. That I am doing that. It's all about me. It's a great book. 877-57 equal is the number to call to get onto the program. This is a bit of a controversial monologue that I'm going to do. We're roaring up on Christmas. Some of you listening have children, younger children. And many of you listening have grandkids that are in that younger age range. Are you ill at ease, somewhat uncomfortable about the amount of Christmas stuff that comes in tsunami-like waves to the children? You want to see them excited, opening their gifts in a feeding frenzy like a shark. But you're thinking to yourself, boy, this is a lot. This is just a lot. I mean, is it their birthday? My wife and I were very uncomfortable with the amount of toys and stuff and everything that came at the children from various places. Parents, grandparents, neighbors, cousins, aunts, uncles, parole officers, judges, therapists. We were uncomfortable with this. It was too much. It was way, way, way too much. Are you at that point? Parents will call in and they'll say, well, how do I make a child more grateful? Well, that's simple enough. You give them less. That's the way you start anyway. But Christmas is really an overstuffed time. Truly is. My mother-in-law grew up in the 1930s, right about the same time as Teresa Tomeo. She told us when she was a little girl, they would get maybe an orange in their stocking and perhaps something, maybe candy or gum, something. That was pretty much it. And that was exciting for them. Now, can you imagine? Can you imagine a kid getting something like that in a stocking? Even those among us who are on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale get a lot of stuff. They truly do. So are you ill at ease about this? If you're a parent, if you're a grandparent? And if you are, what do you want to do about it? You can do something, you know. You don't have to allow it. You don't have to let the spigot just be wide open for the stuff to come in. Is that what you really want to teach your kids? That is just more, get, do. Is it? If not, now again, this is my perspective. This is not some kind of psychologically correct thing you have to do. Who am I to say that? But this is my perspective. It's too much. It's way too much. Our kids have way too much throughout the year, materially. You get your hair cut, you get a rubber spider. You know your catechism verses, 5 bags of candy, 6 sticker books. You go to McDonald's, you can't ever just get food. You got to get toys to go with the food. Everywhere you go, you get stuff. Christmas is peak stuff. What do you do about it? You can try stopping the relatives, but they don't like that. And I know some of you grandparents listening, you're thinking, whoa, wait a minute. I've got some grad kids on one part of the family that, well, they love getting a lot. And then I got my daughter who says, no, Mom, back off. So what happens on Christmas Eve is one set of grandkids gets 2 gifts from me and the other set gets 6. Boy, that means I like them 3 times as much. No, it doesn't. But it can look that way and you can feel that way. So what do you do? Well, as a grandparent, if you're ill at ease about it, do something about it. You don't have to give it just because it's obligatory, do you? Years ago, my wife and I pretty much stopped getting each other Christmas gifts. Why? Well, because during the year, if we want something, we're able to get it for the most part. We don't live a high life, but we can get stuff. If I need a shirt, she buys me a shirt because I don't know how to shop, so she does it. Now, sometimes she'll get me little things for Christmas, just little cute things, loving things. And I'll buy her stuff too. Last year I got her a pair of cleats. Year before that, a tire iron. Year before that, a case of WD-40. So, you know, I get her stuff too. But we really don't do much of that because why? Now, I know there are many of you thinking, Dr. Ray, come on, man. Gifts are a sign of love. They're a sign of care. They're a sign of you mean something to me. Of course, I understand that. I truly do. But I got a question for you. How much do you struggle trying to figure out what to get somebody because you're thinking, I don't know what to get him. They got everything. What, would I buy him another tie? How many ties does he have? Well, if I don't even know if I should. I thought I'd buy him this whole car thing, but he's got like 6 of those. What do you do? You stretch your mind trying to figure out what to get somebody because, as far as you can tell, they're not lacking anything materially. One of the things we did, we couldn't stop the relatives. For several years, their attitude was, no, we want to give a bunch of gifts, and we're going to give them no matter what you ask. Because we asked them to tone it back. So we would, every year, my wife and I and the kids, go up to Akron Children's Hospital. We usually had 2 or 3 baskets full of stuff, toys, things. And we gave them to the volunteers to give to the kids who are in the hospital who have nobody visiting them. That's not unusual. Just the nurses. I know it's hard to believe that, but it's true. So we did that for years. How does it work with the kids? Are they materialistic now? It depends on their personalities. Some like material stuff more than others. Some doesn't mean all that much to them. It's like their personalities. But Randy and I we were making a statement, and the statement was, if it's excessive, we're gonna try to turn the spigot back. Now, interestingly enough, after several years of this, my mother-in-law said something to this effect. She had other grandkids, and she said, notice that when you get something for Ray and Randy's kids, they're really grateful. They really appreciate it. Some of the other kids, they just kind of, I don't know, they just kind of expect it. And I think what pushed her over the edge is when a couple of the grandkids, not ours, we'd have done something about that, gave her a catalog with things circled, what they wanted. Now, I did something similar. I gave her a catalog. It was a car catalog, and I circled various vehicles that I wanted. She didn't follow through. So if you're uneasy about this, you're permitted to do something about it, whether you're a grandparent, whether you're a parent. You can. You can explain to the kids. You can say, hey, you know what, guys? We got a lot. We got an awful lot. And here's another way to handle it. If the stuff is going to come in before Christmas, go through their other stuff. Get rid of the stuff that's broken, missing pieces, hanging around, hasn't been touched for 3 years. Thin it out. So at the very least, when the new stuff comes in, it doesn't add to the pile. It may replace some of what was in the pile. Just some thoughts about that. 877-573-7825. Definitely would like to talk to you about that or about anything on your mind.
When your children consider going to college, where are you going to find a place that will prepare them for the future and build on the foundation that you've laid? The answer? Ave Maria University. With an authentically Catholic curriculum, including 35 majors, AMU prepares students to take on the world.
I've seen the difference in my son since he's been at Ave Maria. He's happy, he's excited about what he's going to do with his degree, and he's living his faith.
Learn more at avemaria.edu. That's avemaria.edu. Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
I said to the sisters one day, what do you think you're going to look like in heaven? Oh, some of them had absolutely magnificent ideas. I didn't think of one of them. And so I got desperate because then my turn came. I didn't know what to say. And so in desperation, I said, what do you think I'll wear in heaven? And they all said with one voice, armor.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
CMF Curo is a Catholic healthcare ministry providing families nationwide with a better solution centered around whole health, spirit, mind, and body. Our members share their medical burdens within a faith-filled community. At CMF Curo, our members have access to a spiritual director, concierge services, and other health and spiritual resources. Find out if CMF Curo is a better solution for your family. Visit mycatholichealthcare.com. That's mycatholichealthcare.com.
Dr. Ray Guarendi here. Thank you for joining me on The Doctor Is In. The number, 877 57 equal. One more thing before we go to your calls. And another thing. By the way, you want to try doing something like this if you're a parent? Be ready for grief. You will not be understood. People will not say, wow, that's a great idea. You know, I've been thinking they get way too much as it is, and I've been wondering about that. Plus, you're saving me money. Not usually. They're going to look at you like, what? You haven't been listening to any weirdo, have you? Yeah, we ran into that. We definitely ran into that. But with time, I think people were by and large grateful. So, Sue wanted to make a comment. Yeah, well, here's the thing about the three wise men. You know, a lot of times people draw a parallel between the three wise men. Yeah, they get gold. Gee, you want to give kid gold? I'll take that. Frankincense, you know, it's kind of a fancy little smell there. And myrrh, boy, that's an ointment oil. That's good stuff. Bet that whole thing's probably worth, well, I don't know. It's probably from Bitcoin. It's probably worth about $100,000 in Bitcoin. Hi, Sue. How are you?
I'm great, Dr. Ray. How are you?
Nothing gaining on me.
So I love your show. I wish that I had your show when I was raising children.
They wouldn't have needed as many parole officers, would they?
That's true. So I never did this. I always went crazy with the grandchildren and bought them all kinds of things because I'd see one more thing that I knew they would love. But what I think now is everybody wants to give children gifts. I think 3 is enough. And because, like you said, that's what the wise men brought. I'm not saying bring gold and frankincense and myrrh. I'm just saying 3 gifts is all they need. Nobody needs more than that. Because kids have so much stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So
when did you decide, Sue, to limit it to 3? How many years and Christmases did it take you?
Okay, here I am. I just know that my kids are all grown up, like they're in their 40s and 50s. My grandkids are in their 20s. But, and I only, I think I'm getting 2 gifts each for the grandkids because they don't really want a lot. So when they have children, I'm going to suggest that maybe they do that. That it's a good way to start out, and it's a good way to have the grandparents, tell them, don't buy, 10 things for the kids.
You said something interesting, Sue. You said something interesting.
What's that?
Said, I see something, and I'd think, well, they'd be happy to get that. That's one of the most common things I hear from grandparents. Oh, I just like to see them excited. I like to see them happy. I just, their little faces.
And it's true.
It is.
But I do see so many children with so many things.
Yep.
That get tossed aside. That I'm smarter now. I'm much older now. And I just think it's a waste of money for one thing. And they don't need that stuff.
Sue, if you'd have listened to me 20 years ago, can you imagine how many thousands of dollars I would have saved you?
Oh, I don't even want to think about it.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of times, grandparents will say things like, well, I'd like to get them a little Bible, or maybe I'll get them a subscription to a real nice magazine. They'll get those kinds of gifts rather than necessarily material gifts. Sure.
Yeah, I've done that. Magnificat for kids was a good one.
Sure, there you go, and that's beautiful stuff. It's not toys and trinkets.
Right.
1 year.
Exactly.
Now, when we had 10 kids, at one point they were all 12 and under. When we had 10 kids, 1 year, I counted how many individual items total had come toward our kids. Take a guess, Sue. You ain't going to get it. Take a guess.
I'm thinking hundreds.
$216.
Ugh. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, one time my brother and sister-in-law came to visit, and so there was us, there was them, their 3 children who were grown up, myself, my husband, my 2 kids, and 1 grandchild. And do you know we had to take a break from opening presents? I mean, that's just disgusting.
They needed some kind of stimulant drug to keep going, huh? It was like they were exhausted.
Well, I mean, I did. I was ready to say, okay, that's enough. Let's not open any more presents. But,
Well, here's something
let's
else.
have a cup of tea.
Think about this. If you took a stopwatch, a child opened a gift, how long do you think it would be after the gift was opened and the paper's torn before they moved on to the next gift?
Oh, not long at all.
Half a minute? Yeah, half a minute, yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we grown-ups are guilty about this. Even when they want to linger, we go, oh, no, here's another one. I got this for you. Here's another one. So even when this little 6-year-old wants to linger on whatever it was that he got, we said, no, there's more here. You're never going to get through this by next week if you don't start open them now.
Exactly.
Oh, my dear, thank you. Well, I'm glad you learned your lesson without me. You didn't need me.
Well, I've needed you for a lot more things, and I'm definitely going to buy some of your books for my grandchildren who are having babies. What do you think is the first book? They just got married in October on the feast day of Our Lady of Victory. And what do you think would be the best first book?
I got a marriage book. I got a book on marriage.
Okay.
I've got a couple books that Thinking Like Jesus, which is Living Better. And then I have my most popular parenting book is Discipline That Lasts a Lifetime. There's 17 books, and they're all on my website, and they're discounted, and they're signed.
Okay.
So that's probably the best way to get them quickest.
Very good. Hey, that would be great Christmas present.
I personally think so.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, Sue. You take care,
and you
dear.
have a Merry Christmas, Dr. Ray.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Wendy has 10 children, and I like her idea. Hi, Wendy. How are you? Hello, Wendy.
Hi.
10 kids, huh?
Yep, 10 kids.
What's the age range?
Well, now they're all grown now. My oldest will be 45 next year, and my youngest is 28.
So you had 17 years between them, so there was a time when they were all at home.
Yes, they were. It was very busy, and my husband and I wouldn't change a thing.
How did you decide what the special gift was?
Well, they got to pick, and because there were so many, they were all very grateful that they were getting a gift. So, they kept it moderate. Nobody went crazy. But, they got to pick one, and then their dad and I picked one for them, which was usually something special also.
Okay, so you got how many grandkids?
It was memorable.
How many grandkids?
Right now, I have 23 grandchildren.
You buy something for all of them?
I buy a Christmas tree ornament for each one of them.
All right, you cheapie. All right. Nice move, the old Christmas tree ornament gift. Oldest trick in the book, Wendy.
But, it's something that they'll have. And then when they move out of their house, they have that for their own Christmas tree. And hopefully they appreciate them. I think they do.
I've done something similar. I buy each of my kids a fruitcake. So, a full one.
Yeah. A whole one that they get to eat all themselves. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Wendy. You're a sweetheart. Take good care.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
877-573-7825. Halfway mark. And that's usually when more calls come in at the halfway mark. Come on in. We got room. Love to hear from you. I'm Dr. Ray.
Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo.
We make no bones here at EWTN and Ave Maria Radio that we are Catholic and that we are here to educate the Catholic faith. So we're very clear as to whom and what we represent. But you can't hide behind a title like the secular media do, claiming they're a news operation when it's nothing but propaganda for particular causes. It goes back to the pride of not admitting that maybe we need to look in the mirror and change some things. And I know from a personal perspective, I dug in my heels in terms of not wanting to leave the secular media. Oh no, I have a better plan. If you could just keep me here and let me make the big bucks, and I'll still do my Christian thing here and there, we can be besties, God. It took me 3 years to finally say, I am yours, I was made for you, what do you want me to do?
Catholic Connections, Teresa Tomeo. Weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Was Jesus' risen body the same body he dwelled in while living on earth? According to the Catholic Catechism, it was the same body that was crucified, but it was glorified and different in profound ways from the risen body of Lazarus, which Jesus brought forth from the tomb. Lazarus returned to his same earthly life with the same limitations he had when he left it. Jesus rose with new powers. His body was no longer confined to time and space. He could appear and disappear at will. He could walk through doors. He could also eat and drink as he did with the apostles to prove to them that he was not a ghost. He could appear in whatever guise he chose, as he did with Mary Magdalene when she thought he was the gardener. The reality of the resurrection of the body seemed an impossibility to the disciples. They needed the added impetus of God's grace to accept and believe such a reality. This is Peggy Stanton, and this has been the Order of Malta's Minute with the Catechism.
$877-57 equal. That's the number to call to get onto the program. We do have lines open. Sometimes around the holidays, things slow down a little bit because people are out buying gifts for family and friends and hopefully for me. But I don't see too much of that. 877-57 equal. That is the number. Would definitely want to hear from you. We do something interesting in our home now that all the kids are grown. Each year, one of the kids sets the rules for the Christmas gift exchange. Now, there is thievery involved pretty much every year. For example, gift limit is set. Okay, this year I think it's $30. I like a $5 gift, but hey, one of the other kids said it, so they set it for $30. You buy a gift, put them in the middle. You all draw numbers out of a bowl. That's the order you go in to pick the gift. Take it, pick it, you open it up. Then you put all the numbers back in the bowl. After all the gifts are open, draw numbers again, and you go in order, and you can steal. You can say, I want Joanna's gift. You take Joanna's gift. You steal it. And then you give Joanna, of course, your gift, which you didn't want, because you don't know what the gifts are. They're all wrapped. You don't know what they are. You can get something, I didn't want. Well, okay, last year we let the older grandkids in, and I got a Barbie doll. Yeah, I know it. And I already had 3 of them. I didn't want the Barbie doll. So my little granddaughter, Rosie, who was 5, stole the Barbie doll off of me. You believe that? Jeez. I was really upset. But I get the crappiest gift every year. It's kind of like, you know what it is? It's kind of like dad candy on Halloween. There's the daddy dish, which is all the junk Halloween. And that's what dad gets. Anyway, all right. So that was our idea. Pete from Ohio. Hello there, Pete.
Hey, in the past, you've made mention of the fact that there's a place, or you've mentioned a couple places where you could send books, especially like if they're Christian books that, people might enjoy getting. I mean, I think I've heard it from you.
Theologicalbooknetwork.org.
Okay.
As far as I know, their mission, and they deal also with seminaries, is to send books to a lot of places. A lot of these seminaries in poorer countries, they just don't have anything. They don't have books, and so whatever we can send, hopefully good stuff, they welcome.
Okay.
Absolutely welcome.
Hey, one other like aspect of giving all these gifts to people, and I never hear this side of it, but like I wonder how many people go in debt giving all those presents so people will know they love them.
Well, they may not go in debt there, Pete, but they probably go beyond what they could do wisely.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you put it on a credit card and then pay interest on it.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You can't pay off your credit card or something. You're actually going into debt. So
I've seen stats. I've seen stats on what the average amount spent by a person on Christmas is. It's heavy. It's multiple hundreds, maybe more.
Right.
Yeah, very, very much so. And so I've told my wife, I said, honey, just keep my gift under $300. I'll be happy. Just $300 is good.
Well, that's
for me.
kind of you.
Well, kind of guy I am,
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil her.
Well, have a Merry Christmas.
You too, Pete. You take good care, buddy. Lisa from Texas. Hi, Lisa.
Hello?
You agree with me about the excessiveness, huh? Hello, Lisa. You there, dear?
Yes.
There you go. You agree with me about all that excessiveness, huh?
Oh, yes. Yes. I would even tell the grandparents and the aunts and uncles, don't send things that they really didn't need, like the talking Elmos and the talking animals or the talking whatevers. I just did not approve of that. So those things went away rather quickly.
Okay, question. Well, yeah, what do you do when you make the request and people don't honor it?
I still put them off to the side. I thank them very much. The girls all had to, for birthday and holidays, they had send thank you cards for what they received to everybody that sent them. And so the people really never knew where they were until they came to visit. And then I would tell them, oh, well, we decided to give it to this charity or that charity, or for the Barbie dolls.
You didn't make them mad?
By the time,
Lisa, you didn't make them mad? You didn't make them mad when you told them that?
No, they were angry. They were very angry with me, but it was the policy in my household. And I had to tell them, this is my house. This is the household that their father and I believe in, and we don't believe in them having an excess amount of toys. I mean, there's only so many toys.
You were gutsy in your assertiveness there.
Well, I'm originally from New York, so.
Oh, okay, that explains it. Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't hit them. Well, so given that, you could have just said nothing. You could have just quietly given the gifts away, right?
Right, and for the most part, I did until they came to visit, and then they would ask for the toys and where were they, and I just told them where they were. And like I said, for the Barbies, my eldest, she ended up with about 168 Barbies.
What?
And they all came up to about, I think it was like $3,500.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Over a period of time, you had a bunch of relatives keep getting her these dolls.
Yeah. They kept buying dolls, and I kept telling them, no, don't. They don't need them anymore. There's only so many dolls that they can play with. So then the Bratz came out, and so they started sending Bratz, and I said, no, it's the same thing. as a Barbie doll. It's just underneath a different name, but it's the same thing. And so they can only play with a certain amount. They
I
can't
think,
play
you know
with
what?
all
I
of
think
them.
I saw your kids on Springer talking about their mom stripping them of their most precious gifts they got from relatives. I did, yeah.
Probably.
Mothers who steal their children's gifts on the next Jerry Springer.
It was just no cause for it. It was just too much.
Yeah, really. Tell them to keep it under 100 Barbies, for heaven's sake. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Okay, a lot of calls up there. I'm going to try to get to everybody. Good stuff. Thanks, everybody. Dr. Ray.
And now, the EWTN Family Prayer with Father Joseph.
Family, a prayer that we pray together is a powerful prayer. So please pray together with me our EWTN Family Prayer. Today we pray for those who have diabetes. Almighty God, we worship you, our Father. And we pray this day for those who suffer with diabetes. Look upon your children with this illness and grant them relief. Give them patience and the grace of perseverance in taking care of their health. Show them the way to physical and spiritual well-being. Let their cry come to your ears and bring them healing in mind and body and soul. We ask this in the holy name of Jesus, your Son. Amen.
Christ is the answer, with Father John Riccardo.
John 6, verses 48 to 58. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness, and they died. This is the bread, meaning me. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that a man may eat of it and never die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. And the bread which I shall give for the life of the world is my flesh. At which the Jews disputed among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? They're scandalized by this. How is it that we're not? How is it that we just hear this and go, oh yeah, I know that passage? They're just outraged and at least perplexed. Sane people, inspired teachers, wise men, prophets don't say things like this.
Well, it reminds me of that Barbie joke. Speaking of Barbies, Mom was wanting to buy a Barbie for her kid. And I know how a lot of you feel about Barbies, and I'm not saying go do this. I'm just in a Barbie joke here. So Mom was looking over, and the clerk said, well, we have Beach Barbie, which comes with all the accoutrements for going to the beach. That's $21. We have Professional Barbie, comes with all of the accoutrements for work-related issues. That's $21. And we have Divorce Barbie, and that's $435. Mom says, Divorce Barbie? Why is that so much? Well, a Divorce Barbie comes with Ken's truck, Ken's 401k, Ken's house. Okay, sorry about that. John here has kind of a variant of the old, here's a catalog. Here, I've circled the gifts that I want. John's got something similar going on with an adult child. Hi, John.
Hi, how you doing, Dr. Ray?
Okay, you got an Amazon gift list from your kid?
Yeah, we get an Amazon gift list, and this happened after the adult children got married and moved out, and we get a wish list, and I'm kind of reluctant to want to fill stuff off that list because it seems like, oh, you're checking all the boxes for them, and I kind of have a problem with that. I think it's like like you said, the three wise men came up with three gifts. You put a list on there of expensive things that fill your gas tank, but they don't necessarily fill mine by giving them to the kids. What's your thoughts on that?
How long you been getting this list?
For the last couple of years. It's kind of new. These are adult children that are married. They've blessed us with one grandchild so far, and it's kind of like everything's changed since that's happened.
Is this gift list for them or for the kids?
For them.
For them. And some of them are expensive?
$300-$400 items.
Whoa!
Like that.
Whoa! So I assume you've met it the last couple of years? You've selected stuff off of there?
We kind of have, but we've kind of deviated a little bit from it. But it makes you feel like this is the requirement. This is what you have to do. This
Yikes.
is what we're expecting. This is what, and that's why I'm all concluded about it.
Is your wife on the same gift page with you?
Well, somewhat. Sometimes she's just like, oh, well, I'm doing this for one of them, and I got to do this for the other one. I got to do this for the other one. I've got to, kind of spread that out, and I don't want to put anybody.
Don't want to
out
show
there
favorites.
on
That's
not
right.
Being
Don't wanna show
equal, not
favorites,
being
yeah.
fair, right?
What would happen if you ignored the list and you just simply bought them a gift that you thought was appropriate and a lot less expensive?
I don't know. I really don't know. I know when they got married, there was a whole litany of things that they wanted when they got married, and this is, a few years back. But we didn't see any of the gifts that they opened. We weren't privy to any of that stuff, and half the stuff they took back so that they could go on their honeymoon.
Yow. So this seems to be a bit of a pattern, is what you're saying?
That's what I'm most concerned about. It. There's a kind of a pattern around it, and that the money part of it is more important than the thought behind it, and achieving those kind of goals around what they're getting is the most important. I'm in it for this.
Sounds like you don't want to feed it. Sounds like you don't want to feed into this anymore.
I don't.
What's stopping you from not feeding into it?
Well, that you risk the. I'm the stepdad, so you risk the alienation. John said this, or John.
I was hoping it wasn't going to go that far. I was going to say something like, you think they'd be mad enough to kind of start creating a rift here, and your wife, who's the bio parent, would feel like, come on, John, we can't do this.
We've been there before.
Boy, I hate when I predict the past.
Yeah.
Well, I think you got to sit down with your wife and say, here's where I'm at with this. Now, obviously, I can't do this with you disagreeing because there's going to be a marriage conflict.
And that's the question. What kind of a dogfight am I in for? Or I'm better off just letting it go.
You got to find out. And if she says, no, we can't do that, can't do that, we've got to do this. I guess I would probably say to her, well, then you pick out the gift from the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's sad when you see something that you're feeding into that you know is not good.
Right.
Here, hey, John, here's the good news. I'm going to tell you the good news. A perverse good news. It sounds like this is already your stepson's attitude anyway. So that even if you didn't do this, he still would think that way.
You may have a point there.
He's not going to alter the way he thinks. All you're doing is saying, I don't want to feed into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the question is, how much of a ripple storm would you create? There you go, my friend.
Well, you know what? I'll let you know in January when I see you on the Good News Creek.
That sounds good. I'm looking forward to that. That's great. Come up, please. Come up and introduce yourself. And hey, by the way, bring that gift list too, because I'd like to pick a couple things off it if I could. I mean, you
do it on Amazon. I think that's the new way. That's the hip way of doing things. Just
put
do it
on your
Amazon.
tab.
Everybody, you'll know what's under the tree because your Amazon list will be completed.
Put it on John's tab. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Dr. Ray.
Now, I'm hesitant to take this next call. I know I should take a break, but I want to get to her. I feel really bad about taking this next call because on one hand, it is a very sweet call. But on the other hand, I feel very sorry for this person. Obviously, she doesn't get out much. Obviously, she's sheltered. She has really no broad base of comparison. But I'm going to try to do what I can to shore her up. Hi, Catherine.
Hi. I've been listening to you for a few years, but I've been hearing you since I was a kid, and my mom listened to you, and you might be my favorite radio person.
Wait a minute. Maybe might be?
Maybe.
Now, wait a minute. According to this, written by Keith, it says, you think I am the best radio personality. So now you're waffling?
Yeah.
Keith, why did you let her through? I thought she was going to be an absolute. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you, Catherine, for my maybes. So what's your question to her about the smartphone?
Well, I'm 21 years old, and I'm moving pretty far away from my parents in a couple months. I'm getting married, and I don't have social media, but our desktop computers can be quite alluring sometimes. And I also don't have a super clear idea of how much time is too much time to spend online.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, how can I make a clear idea of how much time is too much, and how do I...
well, you got to know one thing. It's real easy to spend too much. That's real easy. These things are designed to grasp our attention. So that's the first thing. If you say to yourself, I want to get on Facebook because I want to be able to communicate with mom and dad very easily. I want to show pictures of where we went that night and say hello, and they can send me stuff about, the house. That's great. Then you tell yourself, that's what I want to use it for, and I don't want to use it for anything else. You do that. And you don't need every single social media. You don't need InstaFace or SnapFace or MeTube or whatever. You don't need any of that stuff.
I don't have social media.
Okay. So if you don't have anything, so you're worried a little bit about how much time you'd spend on the phone?
Yeah, just like the entertainment factor.
Yeah, that's easy to do. It's real easy to do, honey. I'm telling you, it's real easy to do. I get pulled into it. For heaven's sakes, that's where I get all my news now. And I find myself looking for funny things. It's real easy to do, and I have to pull myself away from it. As a matter of fact, I had to put the phone down when you called. I was scrolling, and then when you called, I thought I'm going to talk to Catherine for a little bit till I get back on the phone. A lot of it is you're 21 years old, you're moving away, you want to have some contact with your mom and dad that's maybe more than just talking on the phone. We get pictures from our grandkids all the time, and that's neat. It keeps us part of their lives. So I think that's a wonderful aspect of it. But you gotta, if you find yourself drifting toward it and saying, okay, yesterday I was an hour and a half on the screen, you probably would need to question yourself and say, can I back away from this, or is it grabbing me by the throat? Now, I would have given you a lot better advice, Catherine. I would have. Had you stuck with that I was the best radio personality on the air. But when...
Oh, okay. You can be my favorite radio person.
Not the best, though. So favorite is opinionated, personal, rather than best being objective. Okay. All right. I'll take it. I'll take it as I can.
How about you could be my favorite radio person for like the whole year?
Year's almost over. You know that, don't you? All right. God bless you, dear. Hey, congratulations on your marriage, honey. This is Dr. Ray.
Ave Maria Radio's Good News Cruise is more popular than ever. Every year, couples testify how their marriages are revitalized and transformed. The 2026 cruise is already 3/4 full, so if you want to join, now is the time. Special guests include musicians Andrea Bocelli, Matt Maher, Sarah Kroger, and John Ignati, as well as hosts from Ave Maria Radio. Fun, romance, devotion. Go to AveMariaRadio.net and click on the Travel tab to find out more.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Are you paying high prices with a traditional health insurance company that pays for things that violate your conscience? There's an alternative available. Solidarity HealthShare is a community of faithful individuals and families that never share into immoral medical services, all while saving you money with prices starting as low as $85 per month for singles and $512 for families. Never fund another abortion with your healthcare dollars. Call 844-313-4999 to learn more. The following program is brought to you in part by MyCatholicWill.com. Surveys show that more than half of Americans do not have a will. At MyCatholicWill.com, it takes as little as 15 minutes to write your will and secure a legacy of faith. MyCatholicWill.com is the exclusive online destination for creating a Catholic will. The process of writing a will is simple and now more accessible than ever. MyCatholicWill.com, a legacy of faith for those you love.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Do you feel as though life is flying past you? Are you desperate for a way to find moments of peace and quiet? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian Prayer Series, will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
Well, we found out the problem was miscommunication. Apparently, Catherine thought she was calling another program. And when she said, you're my favorite radio host. That's what it was. I don't know which, maybe Teresa or Marcus, somebody. So that's probably what the problem was. An anonymous female calling, a little different from, we still got some calls there for the whole Christmas comments. And if you'd like to call back in the future, but I want to grab this call from Colorado. Anonymous female. Hi, caller.
Oh.
What's
Hello.
up? Yes, ma'am. What's up?
So, this is a complicated question I have. Here's backstory. We have my husband's family. He has a niece that claims to be gay and has a girlfriend. Her parents are divorced, Disney mom, and kind of lets her get away with whatever. My question is, how do I talk with my husband about this? She likes to bring her girlfriend to the holiday gatherings we have, and I'm very uncomfortable with that. I don't like it. But my husband has...
Are there kids?
Go ahead.
Are there kids in these gatherings?
Yes. She has younger siblings, and I have 3 kids. The oldest one is turning 4.
And her attitude is, look, this is who I am right now, and I'm going to show whatever affection I have to show, and I don't really care what you people think. Is it that extreme?
For the most part, I think that she's had some talks, and they're not as touchy as they first were when they first showed up to the gatherings, but I still don't like it, and I would prefer her not to be there at all, because that could be an option for her not to come at all.
Well, the problem you have is how many other family members are going to be at this gathering, and would they say, no, we want her there?
I don't know. Most of the family, I don't think, approves of her at all. I'm not really sure. It's kind of something that I've left my husband to deal with because it's his family, and I don't feel 100% comfortable.
Maybe you could ask him. I mean, I'm always nervous about shunning someone because of something like that. But maybe you could say to him, can you make it clear to her that we can just tell the children this is her friend, and there isn't any overt affection going on, so that confuses the kids.
Yeah. my husband's very hesitant to address any of this. He had a friend in the past who had had a similar situation, and so he just feels very hesitant about
She's afraid of
talking
being written.
to anybody about it.
He's afraid of being written off.
Or, ripping the family apart. We've had
Yeah.
a lot of drama that's been happening to the family in the past few years, so it's rough.
Well, you always have an option to say that, I can't tell her what to do and what not to do, but affection would confuse my children. So therefore, I'm going to have to make a decision about what my children see. You can do that. I wish I had more time with you. Thanks so much for the company, everybody. Appreciate it so very much. Keith, Andrew, thanks. Walk with God.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.